call it the firing line. I'm essentially going to fire some names at you. It's sort of like the name association, but instead of a description, I'm just going to give you a name and maybe a tiny little story that goes with it. And the first one is, and I know you've got a story about this fella, Arnold Skaaland.
Oh, Arnold Skaaland was unbelievable. He helped me. He was instrumental in my career in the Savoy, where we went into the Savoy earlier, and which we slightly went into. We didn't really go into the whole thing, but Arnold Skaaland loved to drink. He loved Crown Royal, and Arnold Skaaland would always go to the bar after the matches, and in those days they would handle all the settlement in cash, and Arnold Skaaland would have all the cash in his briefcase, and he would put the briefcase under his bed and go to the bar, and everyone knew it. I said to myself, being from Brooklyn, this is like saying rob me, which no one ever did, but there was like $200,000 in that briefcase. 200,000 American dollars. They don't do it anymore. Now it's all done with checks and it was all cash back then. That was the Arnold Skaaland story.
Next one's Bruce Prichard.
Bruce Prichard was in charge of our creativity. He got a little negative at times, but he had a very good knack at the business, and I know Bruce will listen to this because Bruce has a podcast.
Oh yeah,
I cannot knock Bruce as much as Bruce was on a different level. He was working hand in hand with Vince, and I could say he had a natural knack at the business of knowing the logic of what will work and what won't work.
Next one, and I think you've wrestled him early in your career, Ivan Koloff.
Holy shit, Ivan Koloff. Ivan Koloff, I actually wrestled him many, many times. Actually, very early, when I was getting married, I remember my wife used to sit with Ivan Koloff's then wife or girlfriend or whatever she was. Ivan Koloff was a bodybuilding machine, and he had a back, and he curled up. He curved his back like a turtle, and you would pound it, and you'd be like pounding a shield, and very, very odd. Like he would eat an onion like an apple. An onion.
Why?
Like, because he liked it.
Was it like tears streaming down his face? I mean, I can't cut one of them things.
No, that was his thing. He just liked it. And he told me one time, he goes, when you go to the gym, he goes, don't matter how much you do and how little you do, just do everything perfect with strictness. You know what I mean? That's what he told me. And I wrestled him many times, always liked him, and I have nothing bad to say about Ivan Putski, and
Koloff.
I mean Koloff, and I have nothing bad to say about him.
Sorry, I'm not after anything bad for you to say about them. Why do you think he's not in the Hall of Fame? He seems maybe the biggest glaring omission.
Hall of Fame. You know who belongs in the Hall of Fame? The writers. The writers belong in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Because they look at the Hall of Fame list. I was 6-time world champion. I mean, I was written in to have the championship 6 times. I mean, let's face it. You're told and written in to win the championship. The championship is not real. This is not UFC.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This is sports entertainment. We are telling the people we are entertaining you. We are not telling the people that you legitimately won the world championship 6 times. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get it. Let's move on. Vince Russo.
Vince Russo, he asked me a bunch of times to go on his podcast, and I like Vince Russo. I respect Vince Russo. I think a lot of people say things that people think, but they won't say it. He says it. He says what's on his mind, and he don't give a damn. I'm not saying what he says isn't true. A lot of what he says is true. A lot of what he says is so true that it's need not to be said. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be in a podcast where I'm going to be drawn into negativity and this and that. I follow him on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter. I respect Vince Russo. The only thing is, remember when they had the referee strike?
Yes, I do. 99. I remember it.
Okay, the only thing I didn't like what Vince Russo did was they made me a referee, and I refereed, and I said, Vince, Russo, I said, let me do one thing. Let me rip up my referee shirt like the Brooklyn Brawler. And he said, no. I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was a good idea. And if I ever do his podcast, which I might do it one day, I will totally bring that up to him. But I got nothing against Vince Russo, and I don't disagree with him. I agree not to put over what he talks about. You know what I mean? He picks things apart, and he says his mind, which I'm not saying is not true. I agree with a lot of it, but a lot of it needs not to be said.
Mm.
I hope I said that well enough.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't offend him, because I don't mean to offend him. I like him.
Nick Bockwinkel.
Nick Bockwinkel was a great technician. He was a great guy before he got Alzheimer's. And I used to always see him when we used to wrestle in, I think it was Florida he lived, if I remember right. And he used to tell me old stories where he lived above a bakery, and he always used to smell the baked goods baking downstairs, and he always had a craving for baked goods and this and that. But in his day, he was a well-respected worker, champion. People wanted to work with him. And I have nothing bad to say about Nick Bockwinkel. I have good to say about Nick Bockwinkel. I liked him as a friend. I liked him as his career, for his career. I liked everything about Nick Bockwinkel. He was a good person.
Todd Pettengill.
Todd Pettengill was just a tool in the company, where he was like a spokesman, a commentator, very animated. You know what I mean? They would always put him in spots where he would introduce things like the Slammies or the, he was good at what he did for the time that he was in the company.
He was well paid as well, I believe. Was he got like $250,000 a year or something back in the 90s?
I don't know anything about that.
Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler is one of the greatest people I've ever met. I've had matches with Jerry Lawler. I've booked Jerry Lawler because I used to have a wrestling territory in a school. And Jerry Lawler is the only guy I know that can get more out of less. In other words, he doesn't go around the block to cross the street. Today, everybody goes around the block to cross the street. Jerry Lawler gets more reaction out of doing less. I mean, I wrestled him because I won a battle royal in this that night, and Jerry Lawler was scheduled to wrestle the winner of the battle royal. Now, before he wrestled me, he cut about a 10-minute promo putting me over and all my accolades and what I did and built me. Then he has a match with me, and the referee is a heel referee. It was a manager, but he was the referee. So he was screwing up Jerry Lawler. Like, he would go to punch me in the face, he would hold his arm, and then he would screw me up. He would hold my arm, and he would do everything wrong. Jerry Lawler and me were both giving him shit. But he ended the match. Jerry Lawler, I had the referee in the Boston Crab. The guy that he managed ran in. Jerry Lawler gave him the stunner and pinned him. And then the announcer goes, the winner of the match is the Brooklyn Brawler. And the other winner of the match is Jerry Lawler. And at the end of the match, me and Jerry Lawler both we both raised hands together, and we were both the winners of the same match against each other. He was incredible. The guy had psychology. He had everything. He would take any move. He would do anything. He would do the least and get the most reaction.
I've got a few more here. The Road Warriors.
Oh, the Road Warriors. They were fierce. They were scary. They were insane. Their finish, I always feared. I didn't like to take it because I felt I was. Did
you ever take it? Did you ever take it?
Yes. But I felt like I was going to break my neck if I landed wrong, and I was hesitant to taking it. Like a couple of times, I would tell the Road Warriors, I don't mind wrestling you, but I don't want to take the finish. But I completely thought that they would dominated the whole company at the time. When they came in, they were like human wrecking machines. And a year before Animal died, I did a road trip with him, and he was driving. And I remember he was texting, and you ever see on the side of the highways? I don't know how it is in England, but they have these steel trucks where they were doing work, and it's like a barricade. They have the lane barricade, and Animal is texting, and he's heading right for this thing, doing about 70 miles an hour. And I said, Joe, you're gonna hit it. And he makes a quick turn, and he gets out of the way, and he goes, oh my God! He texts his wife. He goes, Steve Lombardi just saved my life. We would have been killed. We almost got killed. And then I hear a year later, Animal died. I said, holy shit. I says, we almost got killed together the year before. Then a year later, he dies. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The stories go on and on and on and on. They never end.
Mabel.
I'm an endless Mabel. Holy shit.
Tell Chris
on.
we've got about 3 minutes left on the time. So I'll
He said only 3 minutes. He said he says he won't go. Shane Douglas said I made a mistake. I never used a Boston crab. I used a Brooklyn crab.
Oh, that's you were the Boston Brawler once as well, weren't you? But we won't get into that.
Now you want to go into another story.
No. We'll stick with it. Mabel.
There's too many stories. But the Mabel, okay, Mabel came in. He was a mammoth of a man, and he I never really wrestled him. I watched him. I looked at him. I told him so many times he was unhealthy. I used to take my fist and put it by his chest, and I used to say, "This is your heart, and it's got to feed all of this." I used to get freaked out. I used to do that to Bundy, and I did it to Mabel too. And Mabel, he was a nice guy. I never had a problem to say. I could say I had with him. I have nothing bad to say about him. It's like a guy I really had not that many experiences with. I didn't wrestle him, but I knew him. He was a friend. We always respected each other, and that's all I got to do. That's all I got to say about Mabel. I can't really give you a great story about Mabel.
No worries then. Ludvig Borga.
Ludvig Borga. He was another human wrecking machine. He was I remember being in Europe with him. I think it was the UK and stuff, and the shuttle bus stopped. He pulled the emergency thing, opened the door, got out, and just walked out. I mean, this guy didn't care about nothing. And I remember Lex Luger was wrestling Ludvig Borga, and Lex was he was more or less there to put over Ludvig Borga. And I told Lex, I said, Lex, make him look like $1 million strong. He goes, yeah, but I'm a big bodybuilder too, and I'm strong too, and this and that, and I'm trying to tell him, become the Brooklyn Brawler. You know what I mean? Build him, and he's trying to say no, but I'm already built, and Ludwig's built, so it's like putting top guy against top guy, and I'm not gonna do what you. I don't know. I like Lex a lot. I get along with Lex. He's very religious now, and I like Lex. Lex was a good person. Is a good person.
I'm going to give you 2 more then, and then I will shut the podcast down. The Road Dogg.
The Road Dogg's a very good person. I like Road Dogg. I have a lot of history with Road Dogg. I remember one time I was wrestling Road Dogg, and then they gave us like 5 minutes, and then the referee told us in the ring that they extended it to 15 minutes. So we both have a 5-minute match planned, and then we have to go to 15 minutes. So we had to wing it. So we had to, and winging it means you have to figure something out according to the reaction of the people and just keep going. And it came out a little less than it should have. And Jim Ross passed a comment when we came back. And I told Jim Ross, why don't you take into consideration that it was 5 minutes and you extended it to 15 minutes? And it's then, Jim Ross is a great guy too. And he goes, sorry, Steve. But Road Dogg is a very, very likable, good person. Very religious. And I respect him.